All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Hey, this brother Obadiah with New Wine Congregation. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Right, Yahweh is the true name of who the world calls God. And Yahweh Shai is the true name of who the world calls Jesus Christ. And I just want to make a short lesson, man, just a short video going into why it's important to know that you're an Israelite. Because you may have some people, they say, well, I could be an Israelite, but why do it matter if I'm an Israelite? It don't. You have pastors telling the church it don't matter who's an Israelite. It don't matter no more. That's out the window. It's about everybody. Why is it important for our people, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians? Why is it important for you to know that you're an Israelite? Because some people think, or they just don't know why it's important. They don't know why a brother telling them that they're Israelite. They don't know. Now this is the reason why. This is one reason why it's important for you to know that you're an Israelite. Because I looked this up this morning. I said, how many times is the word Israel or Israelite mentioned in the Old Testament? It said 2,228 times. So 2,228 times is Israel mentioned in the Old Testament. Now you gotta know, Israel was a people before it was a place. Understand that. So the Israelites was mentioned 2,228 times in the Old Testament. Now, a lot of people don't read the Old Testament. They skip over the Old Testament and start reading strictly to the New Testament. They never read the Old Testament, so they don't really know who Israel is, how important Israel is, because they skipping over. But the Bible is, Israel in the Old Testament is mentioned over 2,000 times. Now, Israel in the New Testament is mentioned 87 times. When you add those together, there's like 2,315. So over 2,000 times is Israel mentioned in the whole Bible. Because it wasn't no Old and New Testament back then. That's new. It was just the Bible. So at the whole Bible, Israel is mentioned over 2,000 times. Now that should tell you something, that these people are important. These people make up the whole Bible. Like from Genesis all the way to Revelation, the whole Bible is speaking about the Israelites. So don't it make sense for us to try to figure out who these people is that the Bible is speaking on from beginning to end? Like don't it make sense for us to try to do our due diligence to try to search out why or who these people is and why it's important for us to know who these people is in today's time? That would make sense for me. That would make me really want to do the information. The knowing that Israel, the Israelites is mentioned that many times in the Bible. I'm talking about the whole Bible is speaking about the Israelites. Even when you get into the Paul letters, and I might do a separate video on this. When you get into Paul letters, he mentioned in the Gentiles, those Gentiles that Paul is speaking about are Israelites. Because you got to understand, the Jews, right? The Jews only make up 3 tribes of the southern kingdom: Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The Jews don't make up, every Israelite is not a Jew. Right? The Jews are the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which make up the southern kingdom. But what about the northern kingdom? Right? They're not Jews, but they Israelites though. But they're not Jews though. So you gotta understand, Paul writing these letters, right? These Gentiles in Paul's letters are Israelites in the Gentile state of mind. Like I said, I'll do a separate video on that. Or I think I might have already did it. All right. I think I already did a video on it. I'm going to put the video in the description if I find it. So y'all look in the description and the video might be in there. I think I did a video on that a while back, going into how the Gentiles in Paul's letters are Israelites. Because you understand, especially when you get the Apocrypha. Now, a lot of people don't really know about the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha just means hidden books. And when you see I don't know if y'all can see that at the bottom, it says Authorized King James Version. Now, the Apocrypha was originally part of the scrolls. It was originally part of the KJV. But it's 14 books in the Apocrypha that they took out. Because it's certain books that they want to hide. It's certain things, certain prophecy, especially when you read about when you read First Ezra and Second Ezra, it's prophecy in there that they don't want you to know. So they tell you, oh, that it's not canon, right? It contradicts the Bible. How? When you get the King James 1611 version, the Apocrypha is in there. The 14 books is in there, but they took it out. And also another reason why they took it out, because when you read about 1st and 2nd Maccabees, that goes to the Greek captivity. So when Paul says there's no difference between Jew and Greek, you got to understand what he's talking about, man. You understand. You're not going to understand that if you don't read 1st and 2nd Maccabees out the Apocrypha. You're not going to understand why he said that. You're not going to understand why a lot of Israelites was in these Gentile states of mind unless you read the Apocrypha, man. Right, so the whole Bible from the beginning to the end is speaking about the Israelites, man. So it's important to know. It's important to know who these people is. It's important to know. It's important to know who these people is, and it's important to actually read for yourself. Read for yourself and understand, man, and get the information. Now I'm finna read something to y'all. I'm finna show y'all just a few scriptures on why it's important to know that you're an Israelite. Number one, the reason why it's important, because I got the notes on my phone, though I'm looking at my phone. But one reason to know that who the Israelites is, or that you are Israelite, is because you a target. You a target and you have enemies. Now, if you don't know if you don't know who the Israelites is, because the Bible also is speaking to the Israelites to tell the Israelites who their enemies is. It tell them about who to watch out for. It tell them about why they in the situation that they in today, why they getting punished, why everybody hate them. The Bible talking to the Israelites. So if you don't know that you an Israelite, you're not going to know who this Bible talking to. You're not going to know, okay, when you read about Israel or the chosen people, when you read about they said they do crafty counsel against the Israelites, and they trying to take away their name from I'm finna read it. I'm finna read it roughly. I didn't want to paraphrase it. Let me read what I'm talking about. I was quoting Psalms 83. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 83. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee." Excuse me. So God, this is talking about even God has enemies. God has enemies. David saying, God, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up thy head. He said, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. So it's a whole race of people, different races of people are coming together and trying to figure out how can we keep the Israelites, or how can we cut the name of Israel off from being a remembrance. Basically, what he's saying is, how can we destroy these people so bad to the point where they don't know who they is? They don't know they Israelites no more. Right? They don't know their heritage. They don't know their culture. They don't know their language. This is talking about the Israelites. The Bible is telling you that you got enemies. But if you don't know that you are Israelite, number one, you're not gonna think you got enemies. Because America tell you that everybody the same. Everybody equal. You know what I'm saying? We one nation. That was back in the day. That was in the past. You know what I'm saying? Segregation was back in the past. America wants you to think that everybody just, loving and caring amongst each other. That nobody just, they want you to think that the other enemies are the people that America go to war against. That's what they want you to think that the real enemies is. No, if you an Israelite, the Bible tell you the Bible names your enemies. When you keep reading on, when you go down to verse 5, it says, for they have consorted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacle of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, and Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Assur, also is joined with them that they have harping the children of Lot, Selah. So the Bible tells you who your enemies is, man. Now, everybody in the Bible got a biblical nationality. Like, you won't find African American, you won't find Puerto Ricans in the Bible, you won't find Chinese man in the Bible. But everybody in the Bible has a biblical nationality. So when you read about Moab, that's the so-called Chinese man. Right? When you read about Ammon, that's the Japanese man. right? When you read about Edom, that's the so-called white man. When you read about Amalek, that's the Jewish man. When you read about the Philistines and Tyre, those are certain Africans. So the Bible is literally telling you that it's a group of people that conspire against you, that come together behind your back, especially at the United Nations, when they're around these big round tables and they're discussing certain matters. And notice we the only people that don't got no seat in the United Nations, right? The Israelites. So they plotting against us on how to keep us asleep. So that's why it's important for you to know that you're an Israelite, man, because you got to understand, it's literally, this whole world is literally made to destroy you. All the sin and all the things, all the liquor stores in the hoods, them selling us cigarettes, they pushing pork in our communities, they pushing that wicked rap music in our communities, and the wicked gangster movies and gangster shows in our communities. It's all to destroy us. It's all to destroy us, man. And I'm going to show you when I get into the book of Judith, chapter 5, I'm going to show you why they do that. I'm going to show you why. It's a reason why they are trying to destroy us and to keep us asleep, man, from not knowing who he is. But you got to wake up and realize that you an Israelite, man, because your identity is the biggest kept secret on the earth. I'm going to say it again. You Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, your true biblical nationality is the biggest. The biggest. It ain't nothing close to it. Nothing close. It's the biggest kept secret on the face of the earth. That's why they come up with all different lies about it. That's why they try to change our history. They whitewash all the characters in the Bible. They tell you that you African American, that you Mexican, that you Puerto Rican, that you Cuban. Those names are not in the Bible. Those names are not in the Bible. Right? They tell you that you start off in the school system in history class. They start your history off in slavery. You learned about Abraham Lincoln. You learned about George Washington Carver. I mean, not George Washington Carver. You learned about George Washington. You learned about all these presidents that had slaves. But you're not learning about your history and where you come from. Why? Because it's a secret. They don't want you to know who you is. That's why they designed so much wickedness on this earth to keep you asleep. And I ain't gonna jump the gun. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna read to you. I ain't gonna speak my own words. I'm gonna read to you out the Bible in a few minutes why they're trying to keep you sleeping. And when I read that, when I read why they're trying to keep you asleep, that should be a wake up in your mind to, oh, this is why it's important for me to know I'm an Israelite. This is why it's important for me to keep what this Bible say. It's important. So just know that you have people and you know it's important when they trying to, why would they come together? Why would these different races of people come together and be like, okay, they don't have nothing in common. They culture different, they speak different languages, they do things different. But they put that to the side. They got different religions. They put it to the side, and these nations come together on one accord on how to keep the Israelites from waking up. And they come together and talk about how can we keep them from not knowing who they is. That should tell you something. It's important. Let me show you. I'm going to get this another precept in Psalms. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, in verse 1. It says, hear my voice. I'm going to sit down. It's a lot. Sit down real quick, bro. It say, shirt. This is Psalm chapter 64. It say, hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? Or privately. They say, who shall see them? Man, that's so, bruh. Let me break it down line upon line. So I'm gonna go back to Psalm 64 and verse 4. It say that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. So they shoot at secret at the perfect. So you gotta understand something, man. And this is why it's very important for us to keep the commandments of God and, you know, come back to our God, because he will fight for us. You have literally the higher ups, right? People heard about the Illuminati. People heard about the elites and the Rockefellers. These people, right? These people, they cast spells, man, witchcraft upon the chosen, upon the Israelites. Like literally every day, they doing witchcraft, and they trying to figure out how can we make this place more wicked so the Israelites can stumble. And they so wicked they don't even care about some of their people falling in the midst of us falling. So just a perfect example. They put liquor stores in our hood, right? And they put crack in the hoods in the 80s, and they got all these drugs in the communities and things. They know that some of their people are gonna go to the store and get cigarettes. They know that some of their people gonna do crack, right? They know some of their people gonna fall to the rap music. They gonna want to listen to rap and fall to it. They know that people are gonna be addicted to a lot of these things that they created. But the thing about it is, they don't care nothing about that. They don't care nothing about their people. They only worried about getting to us. Long as they get to us, they don't care about some of their people falling in the midst of it. Long as we falling, that's all that matters to them. Because they shoot in secret. They casting spell behind the closed doors in darkness. They doing sacrifices, and that's real. They doing all that type of stuff in secret to try to bring us down, man. Right? It says, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? So they do things in private, right? They do things in private and be like, who gonna see me? Because I rule this earth. That's basically what they say. I rule this earth, man. Who gonna see me cast this spell? Who gonna tell on me? I run the police department. Who gonna see me and go run to the police department and tell them that I'm casting spells and doing all type of witchcraft and drinking blood and stuff and got a little spell book and saying the spells to try to keep the Israelites in sin? Who gonna tell on me? Who gonna see me? I'm in a bunker right now. This is what they think and what they say. It say, they search out iniquity. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So the Bible said they search out iniquity, man. They do a diligent search. Understand this, they don't go to sleep without doing something wicked. They can't go to sleep without thinking about something wicked, man. If they try to go to sleep without doing something wicked, man, they gonna have a terrible night. They might be tossing and turning, can't get no sleep, scratching, they sweating real bad, cause they can't think of nothing. They ain't thinking nothing new or thinking nothing wicked to destroy the Israelites. It sounds crazy, but this is the truth, man. These people know it's important for us to know that we Israelites. They know it's important for us to keep our commandments. It's important for them. They know that it's important for us to know who our God is. They understand that. But they don't want, their job is to keep us asleep, man. They know when we wake up that they finished. It said, my bad, remember, it said they search out iniquity. They do a diligent search. So they literally searching out iniquity. So you gotta think about it. How do you think about making a cigarette? Like, how do you just sit there and think I'm finna make something that's gonna I'm finna make something out of nicotine and that's gonna kill people slowly but make them addicted to it? Or I'm finna make some candy. I'm finna make something that's real sweet that's gonna make people's teeth rotten and hurt their teeth and give them health issues. Or I'm finna make a drug called crack I'm finna just make that, and yeah, people gonna be addicted to it, and they're gonna die, and you know they're gonna age, and they're gonna age quickly, and they're gonna have health issues. I'm gonna make a show. I'm gonna make a show with a kid having 2 dads. And we're gonna push that on the kid. That's a diligent search. You got all this stuff that they do that's wicked. They literally, like, they committed to it. The dang scientists in the labs and stuff that's creating these drugs, they committed to that. They diligent with doing wickedness. And that's just to show, it's telling you, man. The Bible's a cold book, bro. I'm telling you, your identity. Your identity is the biggest kept secret on this earth. And they know that. They know. This is why they spend billions of dollars on the school system not telling you who you is. The church is not telling you who you is. They spend all type of money to keep you distracted from knowing who you is. Now, let me get something else. What else I had? Let me get that Judah chapter 5 real quick. Now, you know how y'all know how I was just saying, how it's important. They know that it's important to know that you're an Israelite. You know how I was just saying that, how they know the importance of us knowing that we Israel. They knew it even back then, during the time of when Israel used to go to war and things like that against their enemies. During this time, they knew what they had to do. And even to today's time, they still know what they got to do to continue to rule this country, to continue to have power and dominance. This is what they must do. This is the book of Judith in the Apocrypha, right? Now, if you don't got the Apocrypha, you can read along, go to Google and type in Judith chapter 5, and it'll come up. You can read like that. Or you can download the KJVA as an Apple, right? The KJVA app. And the Apocrypha is on there if you want to read along. I'm finna start at Judith chapter 5, verse 1. And forgive me if I say some of these names wrong, man. Sometimes I'm bad at pronouncing names, especially when they kind of spell kind of crazy. So just have mercy on me if I pronounce the name wrong. Don't stone me, right? So it says, then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had fortified all the tops of the high hills and had laid impediments in the campaign countries. Wherewith he was very angry and called all the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the seacoast. So basically, somebody told Holofernes that Israel, right, us, but we finna come to war against him. We finna get ready to come to war against him and his army, right? So now the Bible saying that he angry, he calling all the princes of Moab, he calling all the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the seacoast. Let's see what he say in verse 3. And he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is, that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and their strength, and the king and what king is set over them, or captain of their army, and why have they determined not to come and meet me, more than all the inhabitants of the west? So basically, Holofernes basically trying to get information on the Israelites, because you know how before you go to war with somebody, you want to know their strength and their weaknesses. You want to know how to attack them, basically. Like, you're not going to attack their strength. You're going to try to go for their weaknesses. So he's trying to figure out what's our strength and weaknesses. Who's our captain? He basically trying to get information on us. Even like when you look in today's time, how for the people that play sports, you may have when you finna get ready, just say, especially for the coaches, just say you finna get ready to play a team next week. Now this week was your bye week, meaning you didn't have no football game. So a lot of times, high school football, the coaches go to the opponent's game if they have a game, and go and scout them out. And what they do is the coaches go to their game and just look at them, see how they play. You know what I'm saying? See what plays they do, and then they go back on practice, or they go back to the film room, right? See what was going on. Then when it come Monday, right, he telling the team what they seen, who their best player is, and they getting prepared for it, getting prepared for that game. So that's basically what the Holofernes is trying to do with Israel. He's trying to get information on us to see how can he overcome us in war, because he don't really know much about us, right? So it says then said Asher, I might have said that name wrong. I'm gonna just say A. Then said A, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my Lord not hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people. So you got a person that know about us, and he finna tell them about us. With dwelleth near thee, and inhabit the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. This people are descended of the Chaldeans, and they sojourn heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the lands of Chaldea. For they left the ways of their ancestors and worshipped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt and were increased with gold and silver and with very much cattle. So basically what's going on is he's basically running down our history to Holofernes. He's basically going back into history and telling him how we came about, basically, and what our God been doing for us. It says, but when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. Amen. And that, right there, verse 10 is a cut to Revelation. I want to say it's Revelation 7, when it goes to the 144. Then it goes to a great multitude, and then it talks about a great multitude. I want to say in 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. I want to say that's a cut right there to show that the great multitude is Israel. Let me keep going. It said, because they're a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. It says, therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with labor and brick, and made them slaves. And they're going to, when we was in Egypt in slavery and all that, under the Egyptians. It said, then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And now this is basically talking about this. He's running down the story in Exodus. Basically, he's talking about in Exodus what happened with the plagues in Egypt. It says, and God dried the Red Sea before them and brought them to Mount Sinai and Caves barn, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by the strength all them of Esbon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Sishemite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in the country many days. Now check this out. This is the point. Check out Judah chapter 5 verse 17, what it say. It say, and while they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hated iniquity was with them. So the Bible said when the Israelites didn't sin against their God, the God of Israel fought for them. Basically, when we didn't sin against our God, we prospered. When we went to war, he fought for us. The other nations, they fell into our hands. We increased in gold and silver and riches. We was at peace when we didn't sin against our God and didn't go to worship other gods and break the commandments, right? They say, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captive into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground. Their cities were taken by the enemies. So now he's telling them, when they prospered when they prospered, they God fought for them, and nobody couldn't beat them. But when they sinned, when they departed from their God, they was led into captivities, different captivities. That's what he's telling them. Now, verse 19 says, but now are they returned to their God and are come up from the places where they were scattered and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. So he telling them basically, Captain Holofernes, or King Holofernes, he said, if there be any error or any sin among these people, if we look at them, go look at them, and they worshiping other gods, bowing down the stones, a man laying down with another man's wife, and you know what I'm saying, they homosexuality, a man sleeping with a man, if that's going on among their nation, let's go to war against them, because their God is not going to fight for them. And then he said in verse 21, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach for all the world. So he was like, okay, but if there's no sin in these Israelites, and you know what I'm saying, they in order, they ruling, the man are ruling his household in righteousness, right? The wife in order, the kids in order, they keeping the commandments, right? He's saying, you better not, King Holofernes, do not go to war with them. Just pass by, because if you even touch them or look at them wrong, their God is going to punish you. They knew that back then. They knew even back then, if we was keeping the commandments and doing what we supposed to do, that our God was going to fight for us. And if we cried out, he was going to hear us. So they know this now. The higher ups, the lower class Edomites, they wicked, right? But they don't really know why they bugged out. But the higher ups, right? The higher elites, the higher so-called so-called white elites, they know the importance of us not knowing who he is, not keeping the commandment, because they know if them Israelites continue to stay in sin, if they continue to not serve their God and drift off and serve other gods, serve the universe, give credit to the universe, in Islam, giving credit to Allah, right? They understand that they're going to continue to rule over us. They're going to continue to have power as long as we be asleep. As long as we sleep, they're going to continue to rule over us. But when we wake up, when we start to wake up, like Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30 say, let me get this real quick in Baruch. It's another book in the Apocrypha. Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. It says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. So it's already prophesied that we was going to remember ourselves in the land of our captivity. And we in the land of our captivity right now. So the Bible said, so they know when the more we start to wake up, the closer they is to their kingdom falling. That's why you read about this in the book of Revelation chapter 2. This is why you read about this when it says this. Or is it 2 or 12? Let me see. 12. This is why this said this in the Revelation 12 and 12. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he know that he have but a short time. So the devil, right? The devil knows that he got a short time, and the devil is in the flesh of these elites, man. So they know that they got a short time, because they seen how much we waking up. They seen how much the Israelites are coming back to their nationality and starting to realize, I'm not black. That's the color of the crayon box. I'm not African American. That's a made up term. I'm not Puerto Rican. That just means rich port. I'm not Mexican. My native tongue ain't Spanish. That was beaten to me by the Spaniards. We starting to wake up and come back to this Bible and who he is. So they fear that, because they finna fall. They know they got but a short time. This is why so much prophecy is fulfilling so quick and rapid right now. Because we are waking up quick. I'm talking about not even just America, around the four corners of the earth. You got Israelites waking up in because we scattered around the four corners of the earth. The slave ship just didn't stop black people in America. It just didn't stop Hispanic people or Mexican people in Mexico. We are all around the four corners of the earth. So you got Israelites waking up in Japan. You got Israelites waking up in India. Israelites waking up in Australia, in the UK. They know who waking up, knowing who he is. And their kingdom is falling. America's and the world is collapsing because we're waking up. You gotta understand, this world will revolve around the Israelites. Because we're supposed to be ruling this world. This world revolve around us. If we stay in sin and stay wicked, the world gonna continue to be in sin and darkness. What that scripture is, let me get it. It's the book of Proverbs 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So when the Israelites, when the Israelites come back to that order and start keeping the commandments, the world is going to be in complete rejoice. Even the animals, right? You got the animals right now. You go to this, they got animals locked up in zoos, right? You got the animals locked up in cages. They using the animals to make money, right? They cutting down the trees where the birds live at to make paper. The water polluted. You know what I'm saying? From all the dang chemtrails in the sky and all the oil and stuff. The animals are even mourning right now because the wicked are in rulership. Job 9:24. The wicked are in rulership, but it says, but when the righteous, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So the people mourn because the wicked are in rulership right now, man. But when the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice. So that goes into this world revolve around this. When the more the Israelites stay in sin, the more the wicked gonna rule this earth and push wickedness on this earth. But when we start to wake up and realize who he is, man, the world gonna be in a better place when that new Jerusalem come, right? That kingdom of heaven, and the elite's trying to stop that. They're trying to stop that from happening. That's why they want you to. This is why they want you to think it don't matter if you an Israelite or not. Because if you think that it don't matter if you an Israelite, you're never gonna look into the promises and what you have to do as being an Israelite. You're not gonna look into what. Perfect example. It's a person, right? That was like, we're trying to. A person was trying to tell another person about the truth on how you don't need to be keeping these pagan holidays. You need to keep the high holy days that's mentioned in the Bible. And then the person was like, that we don't have to keep that. We don't have to keep that. The Jews kept that. The Israelites kept those days. I'm not Jewish. And the whole time she an Israelite. Well, she an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. But she don't know that. She thinks she African American, or she think that she's a bloodline Gentile. Like a lot of our people think they bloodline Gentiles. So when they read stuff about what the Jews or the Israelites must keep, when they read about the laws that's given to the Israelites, they thinking, well, I'm not a Jew, I'm not Jewish. The Jewish people need to keep that. But not knowing you're the Jew. You're the actual real Jew. See, that's why it's important for you to that's why it's important for us to know our nationality and who we is, because once we know that we the Israelites and that we the Jews and the people of the Bible, we're gonna keep what God gave to the Israelites and the Jews. We're going to keep the commandments that he gave us. But if we don't know, we don't think that we the people of the Bible and don't know, we're not going to keep what's in this Bible. And just perfect example. When you watch that movie, Lion King, right? Simba, right? It was a time where he forgot who he was. He forgot who he was, man. Right? He was walking around with a hog and a mouse. He didn't know how to live. He was learning their customs. He didn't know how to live as a lion. That movie spiritual. It's slick about us, man. It's about the Israelites. Cause we doing the same thing now. We forgot who we was, man. We living as a Gentile, as these other nations. We keeping their holidays, right? We keeping their feast days. We living like them, man. We doing what they doing. So it was the same thing as Simba. He didn't know how to live until his dad came to him in that cloud and said, remember who you are. That's the same thing the Most High God telling us. Remember who you are. That's why he's sending prophets and teachers out to go to the streets and teach. That's why we make videos like this for our people, to make you wake up and remember who you is and come back to who you is. Because your heritage everything been taken away from you. It's all for design. So you will never wake up and realize who you is and come back to your God and repent. Because they trying to make you stay asleep forever so they can rule forever. But the more we wake up and the quicker we wake up, they're going to fall. This is why they push wicked rap music on this earth. So you can still stay in sin. This is why they put liquor stores in every corner in the hood. So you can go in the store and buy cigarettes, and the cigarettes they had a deal for like 85 cents for Relos. So they want you to buy it. You go into these East Indian, Arab, whatever gas stations, you can go in there and get some liquor. A lot of times they don't even check your ID. Because they don't care about you. They just want you in sin and want your money. They know, man. Best believe the same way this Bible tell us, the same way the dude was telling Holofernes about our history and the things that happened to us. Best believe, especially these Arabs and East Indians and people like that, they know about us, especially in their country. They heard stories about us. They know we the Israelites. In other countries, they know who he is. Only in America, they know we black and African American and we don't know who it. But these other nations, they know who he is when they go to their other countries, man. They heard the stories about how we the Israelites and how our God defended us and how when we in sin, they gonna continue to rule over us. But when we wake up, they go into slavery. They know that. This is why they come over here and don't care about selling you cigarettes and stuff like that. They need you in sin for them to stay alive and rule over you. They need us. They need us not knowing who he is. They need us not caring to know who he is. Because they're going to continue to establish and have dominion and power over us until we wake up. That's what the Bible just said when I just read in Judah chapter 5. He heard our cries. He heard the Israelites' cries in Egypt of us mourning and tired of this place. That he delivered us. They don't want you tired of this place. They want you in the delusion that you living in you in the American dream. You can have whatever you want. You want a cigarette, you can have a cigarette. You want some tobacco, some dip that you put in your mouth. The dip, the tobacco, you can have that. You want that nice car, you can have that. They don't want you realizing that you're in captivity, because they know that if you realize you're in captivity, you're gonna cry out to your Lord, and He gonna hear you. This is why they had to change the slavery around. You know how back then in slavery they used to beat us, man. They used to beat us with whips and hang us and stuff like that. Still, some of them still do this to this day, but we ain't gonna act like that don't happen no more. But they had to do a new method, because they were like, we can't keep doing this to them, because they're gonna continue to. It's gonna be more Nat Turners, and they're gonna start rebelling, and they're gonna start crying out to their Lord, and He gonna hear them. So we gotta do it another way. We're gonna still oppress them, but we're gonna make them think that they're not in captivity, because we're gonna give them rewards. We might give them employee of the month, might give them bonuses, stimulus checks, right, to make them get comfortable here. This is what they do. That goes back to that Psalms 83. Is this whole world, even the stuff that you think is little, is all designed to keep us in sin and from not knowing who He is. You must wake up and realize that you're an Israelite. That's the only way we're gonna get out of this captivity. So when you go to Romans chapter 9, right? When you go to Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. Now this is what you got for you if you an Israelite. Now, if you don't know that you an Israelite, you're not going to know that these things belong to you. Because you're not reading it of a mind of an Israelite, because you don't know that you're an Israelite. So when you read Romans chapter 9, I'm starting at verse 3. For I could wish that myself were cursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are the Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glories, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and all the promises. So all these things belong to you. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't know that you was Israelite. You wouldn't know that the covenants, the old covenant and the new covenant, when you get Jeremiah 31 and 31 and Hebrews 8 and 8, the covenant, the old and new covenant is for the Israelites. You're not going to know that the adoption or the grafting in is for the Israelites. You're not going to know that the kingdom of heaven is for the Israelites. Yeah, you people don't know that. Who's the kingdom of heaven for? Matter of fact, how many gates does the kingdom of heaven have? A lot of people don't know. A lot of people think it's one gate. Some think it's 7 gates. People don't know how many gates and who the kingdom of heaven is for. This Revelation 21 and 12. And the 12, 21 and 12. They talk about New Jerusalem, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So it's so New Jerusalem, the kingdom of heaven to come, is going to have 12 gates. It's going to have 12 angels in front of each gate, and those gates are for the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. New Jerusalem is going to be for the Israelites. But if you don't know that you Israel, you're not going to know that this is for you. This is why it's important for you to know who you are. Now, people, I'm going to get this last verse. People may be asking, well, okay, if kingdom of heaven is for everybody, because I know it's somebody that's watching this that's probably, if you ain't saying it out your mouth, it came to your mind. Well, if the Israelites are the black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and the kingdom of heaven only got 12 gates for them, what's going to happen to everybody else? What's going to happen to the white man? What's going to happen to the Chinese man? What's going to happen to the East Indian man, woman, and child? What's going to happen to them? Where they going to be at? Let's show you. Now, this is why it's important for you to know that you Israel, man, because you got a lot of things coming for you. We got a lot of blessings that was made in the beginning for your ancestors and for you. But you got to know who you is and keep what this Bible say. So this Isaiah chapter 14, starting at verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, we're going to take the other nations, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them. So we're going to possess people? We said we're going to take them and bring them to our place, and we're going to possess them. In the land of the Lord, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So it's going to come a time where the Israelites, right? We know that we're in captivity and slavery and under these nations now, but soon it's going to be a whole reverse. And we're going to be in rulership, and these other nations are going to have to serve us, man. But if you didn't know that you was an Israelite, if you didn't know that you come from Jacob, you wouldn't know that this is promised to you. See what I'm saying? Because like I said, like it's mentioned over 2,000 times, Israel. It's mentioned over 2,000 times in the Bible. So don't you think it's important to know who these people is? Don't you kind of think that if it's mentioned that many times in the Bible? Israel, Israelites, Jews. You know what I'm saying? So Lord, when this video was edifying, man, Lord, when this video was edifying, Lord, willing to encourage brothers and sisters to look into your history, man, and understand this holy Bible. This Bible is about your history. This is the blackest book on the face of the earth. This is literally a black and Hispanic and Native Indian history book. Because they're not going to tell you your history before slavery. They're not. They're not going to tell you your history before slavery. So this is your actual history and where you come from. You come from kings. Right? You come from kings. King David was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. King David was arguably one of Israel's best kings. Then he's got a son named King Solomon. King Solomon was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. From the tribe of Junior. My bad, I said Junior. From the tribe of Judah. He was one of the smartest and richest men that ever lived. People talk about Mansa Musa. King Solomon was the richest man and wisest man that ever lived. He was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Paul, right, that wrote majority of the New Testament, that wrote the epistles in the New Testament. He was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. Moses was an Israelite, right? That parted the Red Sea that freed Israel out of captivity in Egypt. He was an Israelite from the tribe of Levi. These are our ancestors in this Bible. Now you see why they don't want you to know that? Now you see why they want you to think it don't matter if you're an Israelite or they tell you that you're not an Israelite. Because if you realize and wake up that you're an Israelite, you understand that you are connected to these people by blood. By blood, you are connected to these people that's in this Bible that the Bible writ about. Now, Jesus Christ was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. So when you wake up and realize that you're an Israelite, when you read the curses of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15 on down, and you see that you and your ancestors fit these curses in this Bible that prove that you're an Israelite, that means that you are bloodline related to Christ. How many people, everybody can't say that. Every race of people can't say that they related to Christ. You black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, we are bloodline related to Christ. Literally. This is why they don't want you to know the truth. Because you're going to realize how powerful you is. They can't let you know, the slave master couldn't let the slave know how powerful he was. He couldn't let the slave know that he was above, that the slave was actually above him. He couldn't let the slave know that his ancestors are literally the chosen people in this book. He couldn't let the slave know that, so he had to let he only let the slave read certain scriptures in the Bible. He didn't let the slave read. Period. He couldn't do it. Because if he did, he know he'll wake up and realize who he is. Nat Turner. He'll wake up and realize who he is. So this is what they're doing now. They're trying to keep you away from realizing who you is. This book right here is not a universal book. It's not a religious book. It's the Bible is a book about the Israelites and for the Israelites. It's a love story between Israel and the Most High God. That's all it is. It's a love story. It's a story about Israel and the Most High God. It's literally a movie. When you look at it, it's literally a movie how is everything playing out. The Israelites, it's like Lion King, bro. It's literally like Lion King. We disobeyed the Most High God. We get sent, or it's like Lion King, and it's kind of like Planet of the Apes. Literally, all these they make these movies about us, man. They make a lot of these movies they come up with. They don't read the Bible. Avatar. They don't read the Book of Eli. They don't read the Bible. They know this Bible about us. So they make movies. Hollywood, they make movies revolving around this Bible. They're not gonna say that, but they make the movies. They change stuff up a little bit. But it's really about us and about this Bible. When you look at the movie, what's that movie called, man? I think it's called Predator or something like that. When the aliens or whatever, they got locks. It might not be called Predators. Whatever it's called, y'all know what I'm talking about with the aliens. They got locks. That's us. When you look at Avatar, like I just said, the first one, that was about the Native Indians. You could tell how the avatars was dressed. They hair texture and things like that. that was really throwing shots at the native Indians and us too. Because some of them, in the second one, some of them had hair like us. On how the white man came over and destroyed everything, was burning all their villages down. They did that in real life. So a lot of these movies are based off us, man. And this whole thing that's going on is a movie, man. The Lord got us going through this right now, but at the end, it's gonna be a happy time. Like when you watch any good movie, you know, it might start off good, then it get bad, then it may get worse. But at the end of the movie, a lot of times, like especially superhero movies, it get better. The superhero come and save everybody, or he come and save that person or that girl that he liked, and they live happily ever after. Same thing with the Most High God, man. This is a love story. This Bible is a love story between Israel and the Most High God. Right, so with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and I say Shalom, Kwam Yasharah.